Hi there, APES students. Welcome to another week of updates. I hope you're doing well. I'd like to share with you a quote that I drew a picture to this week. You were once wild here, don't let them tame you. So honestly, I found this quote on a tea bag that I was brewing, and it really resonated with me because I just feel like we're all losing so much of ourselves that we need to be reminded to keep it. I'm trying to blanket our neighborhood with positive messages. So this week, today at lunch, I put this out in a neighbor's garden. They put up a kind of a fence so that we could share positive quotes and art in the neighborhood. So I hope you're doing something to keep yourself sane, maybe doing a little new art project, maybe reaching out to friends and family, maybe just doing things to keep yourself wild. Keep up that spirit. This week I'm going to talk about the APES exam in particular, and some things that you can do to prepare yourself for it. So just as a reminder, this year's APES exam has 2 free response questions. They're going to be weighted unequally. The first one is going to be a little bit longer in length. It's going to be designing an investigation, and that's worth 60% of your exam. You'll have about 25 minutes to answer the prompt and then 5 minutes to upload it. And then the second question will be analyzing an environmental problem and proposing a solution. That's going to be 40% of your exam. It's going to be a shorter question, only about 15 minutes to complete it, and then 5 minutes to upload it. Now, you haven't seen these kinds of FRQ questions before. These aren't like the ones that we typically did on our unit exams. And I've done the best job I can of putting 4 sample bootcamp FRQs up for you to practice these types of questions. But even those won't be specific to what you're going to see on the exam. So all you can do is practice these and get feedback from me. And let's go into some details about how you can help prepare yourself. All right, the first thing that I can recommend is to change your strategy in order to get yourself prepared for the final exam, or for the APES exam on May 18th. That means you need to shift from learning mindset to a knowledge expression mindset. What that means is that you're not trying to learn as much as possible now. You're just trying to figure out how you express what you do understand, and how you approach questions that maybe you're unfamiliar with the content, but you can wrap it into a way that you know how the environment works, or you know different kinds of solutions, and be kind of prepared to be flexible and be prepared to be confronted with material that you might not know. So the best way that you can do that is to start practicing your FRQs. I've put 4 bootcamp FRQs on Schoology, and if you haven't done any review at all yet, or you're not done with the air pollution unit, I would actually go straight to those practice FRQs and look at those prompts. Start trying to answer those right away, and that will help you identify your strengths and your weaknesses. And then you can start uploading those, and I can give you feedback on your writing skills, things that you need to pay attention to. And that will also help you identify kind of knowledge weaknesses, and you can more targeted, you have a more targeted approach to your reviewing the content. And then you can really narrow down that content that you need to review. If you're coming across something about sewage treatment and you're like, oh, I don't remember any of this at all, then you know exactly what you need to review. But the chances are that you remember enough of it that you might be able to get a couple of points on the FRQ, and then you can just hone in on really targeted review. Every time somebody uploads a FRQ to the bootcamp review turn-in boxes, I give a very specific feedback. I've been a really picky grader on those and really pushing everybody to really improve their knowledge expression and their skills on those. So if you get a low score from me, don't worry about it. You can just see where you can improve. I'm also checking those boxes on a daily, almost hourly basis. I'm really here to help you review, and I would love to give you as much experience as possible. So the sooner you upload those bootcamp FRQs, the sooner I can give you a response, and the more FRQs I can grade. The longer you wait, the more inundated I'm going to be, and the slower my response time is going to be, or I might only be able to grade and give you feedback on 1 of those or 2 of those, rather than all 4 of them. Okay, so here's a second way that the exam is going to be different. It's open note, which means that you can have a couple of things next to you, and here's what I would recommend to do. First, make sure that you print these things out. You don't want to be toggling back and forth between your computer screen and another computer screen and trying to figure things out. So if you can, print these out. I always try and print my things in grayscale and a fast draft just so that it conserves ink. That might help you as well. Make sure that you've read through these documents ahead of time because you don't want to be fumbling through and looking for the answer. You want to only use it if you absolutely need to have a specific answer and you can't figure out the content, or you don't remember it well enough, or it's right on the tip of your brain and you can't quite get to it. So you want to make sure that you've read through these documents already and you know exactly where to look for information on those. These are just quick guides in case you get stuck. They're not a substitute for reviewing content. So make sure you read through these two documents, but don't let that be the only way that you review the content material that you need to. The first one is going to be the one-page review for each topic, and the second thing is going to be the one-page FRQ notes. And let me go ahead and switch over to Schoology so I can show you where those are. All right, so here I am on Schoology, and you can see that here's the APES one-page review and the one-page FRQ notes. If you open those up, this one-page review is just that. It's 11 different pages, and it covers all sorts of concepts. So it reviews human population, air pollution, water, etc. This was compiled by a different teacher and it's awesome, so I really try not to recreate anything. But read through these and then you know where to go for a quick answer during the test if you just can't remember something about the water treatment process or something about toxicity and waste. Okay. The second one is that one-page FRQ notes. And this is also made by a different teacher, and they really distill down a bunch of the different things that we've been hammering this year. So those task verbs, what do those task verbs look like? What do I need to answer? And here's even an example of a way to answer that question. Remember, if the question deals with one of these topics, don't ever cut and paste something from one of these guides into your answer prompt. That's the best way to get your test flagged for plagiarism. Put everything in your own words. Okay. This document also has a little thing about experimental design, describing a trend, things like that can really help you if you're in a pinch, or if you get confronted with material that you're unfamiliar with, or you just have a blank and you're like, oh, I know that I've studied this, but you're just having trouble on that exam day. Know that there's some things there to help you get through the exam. All right, so you recognize that you don't need to learn everything, but you still should do some content review. So you might be asking yourself, what should I be reviewing, or what content is the exam going to cover? All right, so the exam is going to cover the first 7 units of what the College Board considers the units for environmental science. The first unit is Living Worlds about ecosystems. The second unit is Living Worlds biodiversity. The third unit is populations. That's both human populations and natural populations. The fourth is Earth systems and resources. The fifth is land and water use. The sixth is energy resources and consumption. And then the seventh one is air pollution, which is why I was pushing to get through air pollution this year. The units that the exam says that it doesn't cover are Unit 8, which is aquatic and terrestrial pollution. You can see that's a big, long list of things that we emphasize this year that they say they're not going to cover. And then the 9th unit, which is global change, which includes climate change, ozone depletion, and changes in biodiversity. That leaves a lot of things, that still leaves a lot of things that you're like unsure about. How can we be tested on solutions for environmental problems without talking about aquatic pollution or any sort of other pollution? So let me show you the top 5 videos that I suggest that you review. All right, so this is just my opinion, and it might vary for what you're strong in knowledge content or what you feel like you need to review. But here are the 5 best videos that I think you should review. Actually, it's 6. The first is human impacts on ecosystems or human impacts on biodiversity. If you'll notice, those are from units 8 and 9. Now, I just told you that units 8 and 9 aren't covered on the exam, but I really do think that these are big ideas in environmental science. And if you're asked to justify a solution, that it's going to come in really good to review this content. This will help you review those units 1 and 2 as well, because it wraps it back around on how humans are impacting the natural world and how humans are impacting biodiversity. So I would suggest watching one of those 2 videos. The second one is carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus, and water cycles. These are big ideas, And College Board loves one of the nutrient cycles, so I wouldn't be surprised if it showed up on your exam in some way. So being really clear on the carbon cycle, nitrogen and phosphorus, and the impacts those have on the natural world would be a good chance to review. Next one is plate tectonics, atmosphere, seasons, and climate. The reason I suggest this video is that we didn't cover these in very much detail during the year. We kind of touched on these. There were some supplemental EKs that some students did during the supplemental material week when we were closed but weren't sure what we were supposed to be doing. So this would be a great way to just cover that content really, really quickly. Next, I would suggest the mining, urbanization, footprint, and urban runoff video. And those are big topics. It would review a lot of what's in Unit 6. And then finally, I would select one of the energy resource videos. Just to remind yourself, it's been a long time since we've talked about energy and extracting fossil fuels for electricity or for transportation. So I would suggest going over that material just because it's been a long time since we've done that. All of those videos that I just mentioned are the AP Environmental Science College Board videos that are on YouTube and that I've provided links for. I like watching these videos at a slightly higher speed. And then just pausing when it covers content that I haven't seen in a long time. They do a great, the APES teachers that are doing this review do a great job of inserting practice questions and practice FRQs to help you quiz yourself. And it's just a great way to review the content and increase your knowledge and skills and expression. All right, lastly, you might be a little bit stressed about the logistics for the exam and everything that you need to manage or what you need to do. So there's a lot of great videos coming out from the College Board. I'm going to post in the bio for this video a video that I found from a push teacher that is entitled Getting Prepared for the 2020 AP Exams, All the Details You Need to Know. It's a nice, humane way of somebody walking through kind of the College Board's bombardment of information and helping you draw your attention to the most specific facts. Look at the links that I've already shared on Schoology or that Miss Tiffany's been sending out. And then if you're still overwhelmed or not sure what to do, please just contact me so I know how I can help you specifically, because there's a lot going on for all of us. And I know we just sometimes need a little bit of help and somebody just to say like, hey, I understand. This is really overwhelming. Here, let's solve this problem together. I'm happy to do that. And lastly, I was just trying to figure out how to close out this episode of the updates, and I couldn't figure out anything inspiring to share. And then I realized that I've been watching and listening to some really great things that I'd like to share, and hopefully you can get access to them too. If you have a PBS account, I would check out the 3-part series called Water, the Molecule That Made Us. It is so amazing, and I've got to figure out how to insert it into APES next year. It talks about all sorts of water problems, and if you could watch this, it would probably be a great review for the exam. Honestly, it covers so much great information. And then the other thing, my daughter and I listened to this, we like the Podcast of the Wild, and there was a episode that was featured on KUOW, How to Spot an Owl in Washington. It's easier than you think. And it was a really fun listen to. It really connected me with nature that I'm not able to get out to right now. I'm not able to go hiking. I'm not able to go camping, and that's missing in my life. And it was nice to hear that connection to nature, and it also reviews about a bunch of really great APES concepts. So hopefully you're staying wild, you're staying sane, you're staying healthy. I miss you all, and I hope to hear from you and see you soon. Take care.